What's up, guys? How are you guys? So, this is the last part of the documentary series, kinda. So, let's check this out. Episode 7. Basically, what happened after they won the European title. To me, from what he said in last episode, Stephen Howson, this guy. Shout out to Stephen Howson, by the way. From what he said, it gives me a feeling that, that people couldn't handle having Manchester United winning the Champions League, which is really petty. Anyway, let's hear what he has to say about it all. Let's see here.
Welcome back to the history of Manchester United.
Thank you.
In episode 7, we transition from one of the club's greatest highs in becoming kings of Europe in '68 to one of the standout low points as relegation beckoned just 6 years later. This is the story of the team too good to go down. United immediately fell from the joyous celebration of lifting the club's first European Cup to suffering a 68-69 season to forget. It started in dismal fashion as Sir Matt Busby's member.
I don't know, or I don't get how they could get relegated like that. Was there controversy to it? Like, that is something I want to hear about. If it was, then it is kinda, annoying to hear. But yeah.
Beaten 2-1 by Estudiantes over 2 legs in an Intercontinental Cup final marred by on-field violence involving George Best and Jose Hugo Medina. The Argentines lifted the trophy at Old Trafford, and it was just the first of many setbacks throughout the campaign that followed. Dennis Law and George Best continued to provide the goals, chipping in with a combined total of 52 between them, but United slumped to an 11th place finish in the First Division. Everton dumped the Reds out of the FA Cup in the 6th round at Old Trafford before the defence of the European Cup was thwarted by AC Milan, edging a close-fought semi-final 2-1 on aggregate. Sir Matt announced his intention to retire after 24 years of manager in January, which didn't help steady the ship, and many pondered who would be the person to step into the legendary Scots' shoes. And they were mighty shoes to fill. But the club decided to appoint from within. Arise, Wilf McGuinness. A broken leg in the 59-60 campaign ended McGuinness's playing career aged just 22, but he stayed with the club since, replacing Jimmy Murphy as reserve manager in 1964. 5 years on, aged 31, he was at the helm, filling the void of the man who he's since described as a god. Busby remained at the club, acting as a general manager, which saw McGuinness face a fight to gain authority. A combination of that and the visibly ageing squad at his disposal made it a tough...
That must have been such a pressure.
...a task than on paper. Yeah. Improvements were made on the previous season though, with United finishing 8th and reaching 2 semi-finals in the FA Cup and the League Cup. However, as 1970 continued, McGuinness was struggling in his new post, not helped by George Best concerning off-field antics. Placing two fan favourites in Dennis Law and Shea Brennan up for sale certainly didn't help Wolves' cause, but he managed to guide the Reds to a third Cup semi-final in 2 years, this time missing out to Aston Villa in the League Cup. Alas, with league wins still not coming by Boxing Day, he was dismissed and demoted back to the reserves as Samat stepped back in temporarily. Unsurprisingly, United strayed away from relegation under Busby's wing and replicated McGuinness's first and only full season in charge by securing another 8th place finish. Leicester City's Frank O'Farrell took the reins ahead of the 71-72 season, following failed approaches for Celtic's Jock Stein and Leeds United's Don Revie and Chelsea boss Dave Sexton. O'Farrell's Reds made a positive start and were perched at the top of the First Division at Christmas, but it was all downhill from there. A torrid run of 7 successive defeats from New Year's Day saw United crumble and to an 8th place finish yet again, the 3rd consecutive season. One silver lining from that campaign that teased so much promise was O'Farrell's capture of a 22-year-old Aberdeen defender, Martin Buchan, for then a record fee of £125,000. A player who would go on to become a vital asset for the Irishman's eventual successor. As the 71-72 season came to a close, George Best was seriously becoming an issue for O'Farrell. The winger was meant to be entering his prime years, a frightful prospect. But his continued defiance and breaking of rules and disciplinary mishaps would begin to tarnish his reputation. On the day before his 26th birthday, Best made the impulse decision to announce his retirement. A shock to many before he overturned his decision and insisted the show would go on just days later. Best's behaviour was erratic to say the least, and it didn't help United's struggles on the pitch in the following campaign.
Maybe he was struggling with something mentally, which made him,
Starting off with a horrendous 9-match winless run. In October 72, club chairman Louis Edwards planned to dismiss O'Farrell of his duties following a heavy 4-1 defeat to Tottenham Hotspur and controversially targeted ex-Manchester City manager Joe Mercer to take over. O'Farrell happened to be away on a scouting mission the day he was set for the sack though, saving his position. Although Mercer turned down the offer anyway because he was eyeing his own retirement. Form bettered slightly, and after that there was a genuine feeling that O'Farrell could have been the man to turn the club's fortunes around. That was until a sudden 5-0 mauling at the hands of relegation rivals Crystal Palace in December catalysed his dismissal. On the same day, United's directors announced Best's misconduct meant he would never play for the club again. 3 days later, the Doc arrived, leaving behind the Scottish national team to help steer United away from relegation in 1973. In a meeting with Samat, he was told, "The job's yours if you want it," and needed a little persuasion from there. Tommy Docherty's arrival somewhat marked the end of an era. Dennis Law had barely featured in the 72-73 campaign and was allowed to leave the club on a free transfer after 11 years. Best once again announced his retirement as O'Farrell departed, and Sir Bobby Charlton's testimonial took place a day earlier, aged 35. He hung up his boots as United's greatest ever goalscorer. So in came Docherty, and his prospective rebuild started almost instantly with an array of new signings. Most notably the £200,000 capture of Celtic midfielder Lou McCarry. It was as difficult a task Docherty could have faced as he arrived at Old Trafford though. He was asked not only to turn United into a side capable of challenging Europe's elite once again, but finding replacement for the club's icons of the 60s. With the arrival of Macari and O'Farrell's solely successful Martin Buchan being named as captain,
pressure.
There was a cause for slight optimism going into the 73-74 season. However...
Okay, so far I don't know the term for it, but it's like yo-yo effect, I guess it's called. Goes up and down, up and down. Oh, the 70s.
With a squad riddled with aging players from previous eras and an unfamiliarity with Docherty's initial vision, the campaign would prove to be the Reds' inevitable downfall. The season didn't start on the best of terms, as protests sparked among fans over the decision to let Dennis Law switch to the blue side of Manchester. Best, albeit past his peak, surprisingly, came out of retirement again ahead of the campaign, but scored just 2 goals in 12 games before again leaving on New Year's Day as United tumbled into another relegation battle. After just 10 wins and 18 defeats from 40 league games, United had to beat Manchester City in the penultimate game of the season to have any chance of survival.
Oh no.
Docherty's decision to let Law leave the previous summer would come back to haunt him though, as the United hero scored the only goal of the game, confirming the club's relegation after 38 years in the First Division. Now, there's a big myth that has arrived around this, that Dennis Law relegated United, but results elsewhere had already put paid to that. He didn't relegate United, but it wasn't a good look all the same.
True.
In a recent interview, now aged 86, Docherty stated, "The amazing thing about football..."
It said 21. Back then, how many teams were there in the Premier League back then? Because now there's 20 teams. I don't know how many it was back then. This video is kind of sad.
Ex-players come back to haunt you. One minute I'd got the United job and I was standing in the centre of the pitch looking around and humming the lyrics, "You were meant for me." The next minute, I knew I would be known as the man who took United into the second division. Join us in episode 8 where we revisit how the Reds bounced back under Tommy Docherty ahead of Dave Sexton's arrival, as United quickly
Another
returned
season?
to the big time and looked to make Wembley a second home to close off a hectic decade.
So now it will be the 80s. Well, I'm gonna end this here. Thank you guys for watching. Oh. Wow, he's that far. Okay. And anyway, thank you guys for watching this video. Subscribe to my channel if you know. Shout out to Stephen Howson for this amazing video series of Manchester United, the history. Wow. This episode made me upset. Well, thank you guys for watching. I will see if I can find episode number 8, but yeah. Well, thank you guys for watching.